So, hey guys, welcome to another Thursday. This is week 3 of the question of the day. And the question of the day this week. Whoa, wait a second. What was the question of the day? Question of the day. Okay, I think I remember the question of the day. It was what is a game that you wish you could play sleep assistant? A sleep sidekick. Hey, I'm your sleep sidekick. You take a little bit of me and get yourself to sleep, hey? Sleep sidekick, tomato, tomato. All right, I'm ridiculous. Okay, the question of the day this week was if you could go back in time and play one game all over again to experience it again like it was the first time, which game would it be? That was the question of the day, right? Hey, sweet tits. I'm sorry. I wish I could. I wish I could stop. I wish I could stop what this is, but I've got a minty chocolate milkshake, and so. Good one, Drano. That is a good one. That's a very good one. So, we're gonna hop right into it then. If everybody else is cool with it. Ocarina of Time. Nice one. And then Bebby actually. BC Quest for tires? Oh. You gotta explain yourself. Hey, what's up, FCP? Friendly Chops action photography, right? Old Commodore game. Oh, BC Quest. Like, fuck, wasn't that Chuck Rock? And the whole Chuck Rock series, wasn't that a part of that? Maybe not. There was Chuck Rock. There was Son of Chuck. Oh, maybe I'm thinking of something different. Oh, BC the comic. Okay, the Sunday comics. Okay. Hey, I'm Louis Twice now. I've already said Louis twice now. Hey, that's my name, Louis Twice now. I'm the sleep sidekick. Hey, you want to go to bed? I'll help you get to bed. You want to get some snoozes in? I got to do the snoozes for you. Louis Twice now. You say pencil, I get you a pen. I've got to stop. All right, question of the day. Here we go. Twice now. So yes, the question of the day was, what's a game that you wish you could experience all over again for the very first time? Here we are. Make sure that I'm in the right spot. Robin gets another shot. Robin gets another shot. He gets another shot. All right. So, we're going to go all the way to the beginning. Here we go. Got a couple different answers. And here we go. You guys ready to rock and roll? Hopefully we don't lose too much graphics in here. Yay, Louis twice now. Hey. All right, so here we are. Wait. Okay, here we are. Ready, guys? And here we are with the question of the week and some of the answers. We got a shitload of call-ins, so that's why I need to get into these. We'll discuss them in the chat. You guys listen to them. Tell me what your thoughts are. I'll make sure that the audio is loud enough so everybody can hear. And here we go.
All right. What game would I go back in time if I could and I experienced it for the first time? So I actually have 2 games on this. One is a single player, and the second one is multiplayer. The first one, my single player, is Defender of the Crown, which probably is my introduction on video games to grand strategy games. As close as it's going to come at that time to a grand strategy game. I don't even think SimCity was out yet for I think it was the Super NES. Was it the Super NES? I think so. But Defender of the Crown, absolutely. And I probably could find it on an emulator somewhere, but it would not hold up very well. And if it's going to get redone, it's going to get redone in such a fashion that it's basically Defender and Crown in name only at this point. But that is definitely one of those. That is definitely the game that I would love to go back and play again for the first time. I had such love for that game. It was just so much fun for me as a single player. Now, multiplayer games, I think it's the Raw is War wrestling game.
Great
Raw
game.
is War. I want to say it was that one.
4 players.
And the reason why is that was one of those that I got together with my high school friends. When it was mainly just Peruka, Pitchelman, and Wisniewski, and then everyone else was kind of just in. And we would go over to Jason's or Pitchelman's or someone's house, and we would play that game constantly. It was tons of fun on there, and I just remember that just being pure joy of just playing. And we would have little tournaments and knock each other out and things like that. So yeah, I'm gonna go Defender of the Crown on a single player and Raw is War. I'm pretty sure it was Raw is War as a multiplayer game. All right. Underscore Joshua Turbo, the greatest underscore in the universe. Search.
Yeah, it's hilarious on Facebook, Dorkfather, that you had said that if you had known you were being recorded or you had known that you would be on the stream, you wouldn't have rambled on so much. This message was longer than last week's. Anyway, yes, Raw is War was an excellent game, and also Defender of the Crown, fucking awesome game. Those are good stories, and I appreciate it. Thank you. That was awesome. Yeah, that was awesome. All right, let's go on to the next one.
Not quite a video game, but Scrabble. I would love to play that for the first time again because of all the words that you can make. And I didn't know as many words the first time. Now I know more words.
Oh,
I would
wow.
play those words again for the first time, but probably the old ones, not my new words. Those are new.
Oh, that game has words. Good option there. That just came from someone called Scrabble Man. I'm not sure who that was. Goodness gracious.
Well, twist, rattle, and roll. That sounds Packers.
Heck yeah. Thank you. All right. Not my new words, but my old words. I'll never use my new words. All right. Let's move it on. Moving on. We got the Boss Man.
Man, this is a good question that I've spent so much time thinking about over the years. Part of me just wants to just outright say Ocarina of Time, because it's my favorite game, and it's Zelda. It's fucking amazing. But I also feel like it's not as impressive today as it was when it came out and redefined the genre. And I'm okay replaying Ocarina of Time already knowing what happened. So that's probably wouldn't actually be my answer, even though that's my first impulse. I think for me, the answer probably has to be either Persona 4 or one of the Nier games, Nier Replicant or Nier
nice.
Automata, because those games, like the stories and the twists in them, are just so good, and I still appreciate them when I replay them. But it doesn't have the same impact replaying those games again. Just knowing what's coming and everything. And those games are all about subverting expectations and, really, really getting you questioning your morality and life choices and stuff. And, any game in the Nier series or Persona 4 Golden is my answer. I can't just choose one of the two. Either one I'd be okay with. Those series, Persona and Nier series, have had such a profound impact on me after I got into them and started playing them, because of just how crazy they are. And they are, outside of Zelda, those are my two favorite game series of all time. And being able to experience those again would be amazing. And that's why I'm so looking forward to a third Nier game or Persona 6 at some point, just because I love them so much.
It's freaking awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, Bebby. Yeah, Zelda's popular. That's really cool. I only have ever played Persona Well, actually, that's not true. I have played a little bit of Persona 5 on the PlayStation. It was that one and the spin-off was free game of the month on PlayStation Network, so I would download them both. But the only one I ever spent a decent amount of time with was Persona 3 Portable on the PSP, and I enjoyed it. But hold on, there's more from Chris.
Like to me, I love the Persona series, but Persona 4 Golden was the first one I played on the Vita, and I don't think there's been another game since I played that one that I've been so invested in the characters. Like the story is not, anything crazy. It's not the best story I've played in a game or anything. And Persona 5's story overall is better than Persona 4's, but the characters in Persona 4 are something that I'll never forget. I mean, I remember playing through that game for the first time, and at the end, like, I legitimately almost cried because I was sad of having to say goodbye to those characters, and no game has ever done that to me before. So that really strikes me there. But in terms of story, the Nier series is where it's at, because playing through those games a second time, you'll notice things you didn't notice the first time you played through them. But the story will never have the same impact when you go through the multiple routes in those games that they did the first time. They are just, in my opinion, they're masterpieces. Replicant and Automata. They're just subvert expectations and really have really strong moral, lessons and implications from them. And knowing that going in, I wouldn't say it lessens it, but it's just not the same. You know what's coming, and part of that game is playing through each layer of it and discovering more things, and you can't experience that after you've already played the game once again.
That's awesome. That's awesome, and I really do appreciate the call-in. Yeah, I know there's a lot of depth to that, and I know there's a lot that goes into those kind of games, especially with all the storylines and the the tangled web of the game's story that you can follow and kind of alter the way that things go in the future. Especially with that classic Japanese RPG feel and style to it. That's something I need to get into more and play a little bit more of that. And easily could be done while playing on the PlayStation 5, while even streaming. So maybe that's something that's going to have to happen at some point. I have Persona 5, so it's like one of those things where it's like, you have it installed. Jump on that. Come on.
Well, twist, rattle, and roll. That sounds Packers.
All right. So next.
So I grew up in a household, as was kind of indicated by my voice. My answer to last week's question of the day, question of the week. We didn't get a Nintendo 64 until the PS2 came out. My family was not a big video game family, not a big gamer family. So it wasn't particularly liked. We were not getting video games for Christmas. We were not getting allowance money enough to be purchasing video games or new consoles. So when I went off to college and I finally had a PC and was able to start downloading some of the new generation games, I downloaded and played for the first time Skyrim freshman year of college.
Nice.
Was able to install it on my college laptop. And I had an absolute blast. It was the first real RPG I'd ever had the opportunity to play, unlike most of the games that I was experiencing on the Wii, the Nintendo 64, and the PS2, or at least the ones that I had access to. I would love to go back and start that campaign over from the beginning and be able to experience the beauty of that game as it was 10 years ago for the first time again.
Right on. Yeah, that's weirdly enough, Skyrim is one of those games I don't have a lot of experience with. I've played Oblivion, and I really played a lot of Morrowind, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, because I owned an original Xbox when the original Xbox was new. And I played a shitload of Morrowind. Matter of fact, my Xbox, the main games I played a lot of Sega stuff, so Shenmue 2, Panzer Dragoon Orta, a few games like that, but also I played a lot of Halo, and I played a lot of Morrowind. So Morrowind was awesome. I fucking loved it. It was like all of those PC games I think we're all here to have some fun. What games do you guys enjoy playing? Let's get the conversation going and make this stream even more enjoyable. Okay, thank you, AI Alicia. Morrowind, yeah, Morrowind was great. It was like it had that big time PC game feel, but it was like brought onto a console with all of those options, and it didn't feel like it was a stripped down console version of the PC game. It felt like it was the PC game ported directly, and like there was so much to it, and it was like you kind of got to do whatever you wanted, and that was just awesome. And so I played the shit out of Morrowind during. Oh no! Hey everyone, but we're all here to have some fun. What games do you enjoy playing? Let's butt the conversation. Let's get the converse button going and make this stream but enjoyable. Dude, that's too many butts, bot. You crazy bastard. Anyway, yeah, I played more Morrowind. That was the game I played out of all of the Elder Scrolls game. I played more Morrowind than anything else. Skyrim is one that is it's like that stupid hipsterness of me where it's like it's too popular. I'll play it in the year 2030. I'll play it later on when nobody else is playing it so that it was cool because I made it cool again. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, Skyrim looks awesome. I've watched a few people play it. It's a blast. Yeah, it looks awesome. I've yet to really play it. I think I started a guy. It seems really cool. Another one I wish I could go back and experience for the first time was the original Resident Evil 1 on PS1. Wow. Resident Evil 1, huh? That's a good game. I remember the director's cut. The first time you see the first zombie as a kid. Yeah, for real. You know, I liked Resident Evil. I really did like Resident Evil. But like before Resident Evil, I played a lot of Alone in the Dark. I played it on a Mac, weirdly enough. And maybe Superstar will remember this. Hey, how's it going, Soups? We used to play that in our choir teacher's office. He had a Mac, and he had Alone in the Dark in there, and we used to play that game all the time. And like I used to go in there on study halls. We could check into the choir room or whatever, and we played Alone in the Dark. And so when Resident Evil came out, I was like, oh, this is kind of like Alone in the Dark, but you know, it's actually a little bit better. But you know, we'd already seen some of that and stuff. But like for real. Resident Evil 1, there was a director's cut that came out on the PlayStation and the Saturn. I think the Saturn got the director's cut as well, and those are the versions to play. Or you could play that Resident Evil, was it 0? Was that the one that was on the GameCube? Holy shit, is that a good game. Oh, God. Snarf. Snarf. Okay, Bebby's works at GameStop for the midnight release of the original Skyrim. It was snowing, and there was a guy at the beginning of the line with a long red beard and long red hair who was about 5 feet tall in shorts, screaming to the sky about how he has a story to tell of how he stood in line of the snow for Skyrim. That's amazing. That's amazing. You don't remember that? That was, you don't remember going into the choir room? I mean, we probably just didn't have the same study hall, but it was literally like, I remember it was lunch. Then we had choir, and then I had one other class, and then I had study hall, and then my last class of the day, I think was senior year, was film study. Film noir study? I don't remember what it was. But right before film study, I used to go into the choir room for an hour and just hang out. That was like when there was a whole bunch of guys, Belgrim, Brad Bennell, Roy, Ben, a couple of us, we would hang out in that. Maybe you weren't in there. I don't know, it was like sixth hour or seventh hour. Anyway, yes, that's where I played Alone in the Dark. And then years later, when I finally got a Saturn, I got Alone in the Dark, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't as good as I remember it being." But all right, let's go on to our next caller.
All right, so the first one that came to mind when you asked that question is a game called Inscription, which is a deck building adventure game. And it is an experience the first time through because there's a story component that is pretty wild and you don't know what's going on. But once you figure it out, then the game is amazing. And second time through, you know everything that's coming and it's still fun and would highly recommend it. But yeah, the first time through is pretty magical. There are a lot of games like that, actually. On the flip side of that coin, a game that I think is better after playing it once I beat it, strangely, is Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, which is actually one of my favorite games.
So good.
But
so damn good.
playing it through again and knowing where to go and not being confused about, like, looks like I'm supposed to go over there, but I'm falling in water and I'm losing hearts and I don't understand why. And oh man, I just need those flippers. Let's get them. I don't know. But, like, knowing where to go and what to do, I think just makes it a more fun game. And I've beaten it so many times because I enjoy it. And the first time it was, kind of challenging. Parts of it were confusing. So yeah, there you go. An answer and then the opposite answer, I guess.
I'm sorry that you butted have a good butt with the butt me. Oh my God, butt spot, you're on fire tonight.
Well, twist, rattle, and roll. That sounds Packers.
It sure does. All right. Link to the Past is that one for me too. I think that's one I agree on with you more than anything. The only thing I can say that might be different is the first time I played. So Link to the Past, Super Mario World. Think about those kind of games for me because they were like my first 16-bit games ever. Like I remember seeing like Super Mario 3 for the first time and just being blown away. But like Mario World with like the parallax scrolling and the stereo surround sound music and like that fucking blew my mind. Link to the Past was the first Zelda game that I fell in love with. Like it was just like holy shit, the rain effects and the castle in the beginning and you're walking through the castle with Zelda holding her hand and dude that stuff had never happened before in games. But like the one that I would consider maybe one notch above Zelda for me, the game that I would love to play more than anything else again, like it was the first time, is East Book 1 and 2. Because East Book 1 and 2 was the first CD-based RPG I'd ever played. It had FMV cutscenes. Yeah, that intro was amazing. It had FMV cutscenes. It had voice acting. Like it was like you were getting to know characters that actually had life to them. And the music was all Red Book audio. And the actors and everything were so good. The voice actors were amazing. Yes, Wise, Book 1 and 2. When I first played through that, it was like... like you had a great time with that game. That's awesome. But yeah, wow, that experience, it's like a warm heart feeling. You know what I mean? Like it's just like everything, like nothing could go wrong. It's like, what's that? The house is on fire. That's cool. I'm playing Ys. I'm playing Zelda. I'm playing whatever. Like that's the kind of feeling I'm talking about. Like that just warm. It warms my cockles. This is the PC port of Bible Black. The fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Oh, Drane.
Let me see, a game that I wish I can go back and play again like it was the first time. Hell, I'm going to say Shadow of the Colossus. Yeah. I still, enjoy that game to this day. I could put that on right now. And, the game is just, incredible. Like just straight, boss run for the most part. Ain't no filler adventure or no long-winded scripts and storylines and shit like that. No philosophy and none of that. Like, let's just get straight to the meat and potatoes. Like, we going to get this big motherfucker. The dramatic, battles, that you gotta hold and, hang on to fur and whatever it is you can get your hands on, hold on as long as you can, and, stick your sword in the little soft spot, that shit was cool as hell, flying, underwater, all that, like wherever, those Colossus would take you, you had to be ready to go along for the ride. It was, yeah, like, yeah, Shadow of the Colossus. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
That's a great option. That's a great answer. Yeah, that was one of those games, and there was it wasn't a sequel to anything, but it was a pseudo sequel, and the same engine was used in a PS2 original called ICO. That it was great, and it was just one of those games that like you just kind of get plopped in the middle of it, and like, what's up, Monkey Side? Hey, how you doing? It's one of those games where it's just like it's so well done. Um, and man, such a good game, so unique, so different from anything else. And I believe um, there's an actual remastered that came out, right? I think I have that on the PS4 or PS5. I don't know if I have it installed or not, but that would be something I'd like to experience again because, yeah, it was a great game and a really, really, really awesome time, for sure. And that was Fame Douglas. Thank you so much for calling in, buddy. So let's get to this next one.
Trains. Why train? I don't. That was a long silence.
Monkey say yes, that's right. Franny, how's it going? It sounds like you are having a great time. Who's Jay and Monkey Sight? It is nice to meet you, and I hope that Joshua Turbo has been treating his son well. That's amazing. Snarf. Oh God. So Godsfire, you're gonna be like Snarf from the Thundercats. So it's like Buttspot, Snarf, and then AI Alicia. I can't wait to hear this conversation. But yes, trains. I miss trains. I wish we could experience trains again for the first time. That would be wonderful. All right, let's get to the next one.
So a game that I would play again, like it would be my first time that I would love to re-experience would be Paper Mario. It's my childhood game. It's what connects me to my love for overall the Paper Mario series, but also just like in a way to RPGs. Now I've been opening up more to it because of the same. So I just think that the whole idea of playing Paper Mario again, experiencing the story, the characters, the dialogue, and just a fresh new perspective of what Mario has to offer for the first time again would be pretty dope and pretty epic.
Yeah, that was something someone else mentioned in here too about Super Mario RPG would be a great one to experience again. But honestly, the original Paper Mario on GameCube, or I'm sorry, the N64 Paper Mario game. When you were 30 when that came out? No, actually, Paper Mario came out, God, I think 01. It was maybe 2000 or 01, I guess. It was one of those year 4 or year 5 of N64. But like that was one of those the first or it was one of a few really really excellent N64 games in my opinion. Like it had a lot of the elements of games that I felt were missing on the N64. RPG game, really 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 witty. Dialogue between characters and stuff. I think it was an intelligent systems game too. So it's the same team of developers that made the Mario and Luigi series on like the Game Boy Advance and the DS and stuff like that. So like it takes a lot of what was made really really excellent of the Super Mario RPG game, and then it was like brought into this next generation. And I love the concept of Paper Mario. I love that like everything's like 2D and like I thought it was such a unique and cool idea. Yeah, exactly. It was supposed to be Super Mario RPG 2, and then I think they just wound up playing around with it and the concept of like the paper and like being like an open book, like a 3D like pop out book type game where everything is like a 3D thing and 3D but being 2D. It was an interesting, unique idea. The one on the GameCube though, the 1,000-Year Door, that's the game. That's the ultimate Paper Mario game. Like if you want to play an amazing Paper Mario game, that's the one, because I don't think a single Paper Mario game since then has lived up to that hype. Because Paper Mario on the N64 was fun. Good. I'm so glad this is what you do now, God's Fire. Thank you. Snarf. Did someone say Super Mario RP? Snarf. Snarf. You're never too old to play some Mario RP Snarf. Fucking Christ. You got Alicia to say Snarf, dude. I think it would be a great way for us to all to bond and have fun together. I'm done. I'm out. Your Snarf has caught on. Hey, Alicia, please never say Snarf again. Please. Who is this Alicia? Why is she bullying you? Oh, boy. You have to tag her. Yeah, Alicia, why are you bullying superstar. Oh shit. Don't tell anyone not to say snarf again. It's our thing. Oh, this is great. I'm so happy. All right, let's check the next caller. This is snarfing awesome. Where's Buttspot? Buttspot needs to come in here and save us.
Oh boy, if I had the opportunity to play a game over for the first time. A girl never forgets her first game of strip Parcheesi.
Thanks, Teresa. Therese. Oh, that's not Therese. That's Shayla. Shayla. By the way, the Paper Mario, that call-in was from Zap Crystal. Awesome. Crystal's a really, really awesome Twitch streamer, YouTuber. Definitely check her out. She's really one of our awesome contributors to the Game Huggers Facebook page. So if you're on that group at all, Crystal usually posts a video or two a week. So it's really cool stuff. And I really appreciate her being a part of this. So let's get to our next caller.
If I could go back and experience a game for the very first time again, I think I'd have to pick Ys Book 1 and 2 for the TurboGrafx 16. When that came out, it just
Thank you.
It totally blew my mind. I mean, there was nothing like it in video games at the time, and all of the cutscenes and the dialogue, the spoken dialogue, the colorful graphics, the gameplay, just the entire experience was top notch, and I'll never forget playing through that game the first time and many times after that. But it would be fun to go back and rewatch the opening cutscene again, having never seen anything like that before. So that would be my game pick for your question of the week. Bye.
Thank you. That's from Rafflemau, who I believe comes in here as a different username, but I always just call him Rafflemau. Anyway, you heard the meow, meow. That was adorable. Yes, Ys Book 1 and 2, just like we had, just like I'd said before. Man, it is experience, man. It is a fucking experience, and like, never seeing an FMV sequence in a game before, never seeing or hearing music that well done with voice acting and cutscenes, and just the game was like playing an anime. It was just wonderful. It was just wonderful. It was so good that it was basically like one of the best experiences of my life.
Well, twist, rattle, and roll. That sounds Packers.
Exactly. So, all right, let's get to the next one. Oh, and the next one is from our good friend John Lester, also known as Gamester81.
Great question. Appreciate it. What was a game experience I'd love to relive? Playing again, after thinking about it's tough. I'd probably pick Super Empire Strikes Back for the Super Nintendo. A couple of reasons why. Came out in 1993. Got it for Christmas that same year. And I remember opening up, playing it for the Super Nintendo, being blown away by the experience. But also, this was a dark time for Star Wars. In the 90s, it was kind of a weird time. There wasn't, before Episode 1, of course, the prequels. Of course, the original trilogy was already out. So
very hard.
There really wasn't much to enjoy for Star Wars coming out. And so the fact that they had this game, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. That's definitely a cherry on top for sure. Super Empire Strikes Back, highly recommend it if you haven't played it. I would love to play it again. Going through the same experience, having not played it, that'd be an amazing experience. Thanks for the question.
That's a good one, and like you said, Bebby, that's a fucking hard game. Super Empire Strikes Back on the Super Nintendo is like awfully hard. There was an Empire Strikes Back that also came out on the NES, also very difficult. But man, when Super Empire came out, and this is something interesting because I was thinking about this the other day, about the Super Star Wars trilogy on the Super Nintendo. That's actually a game series I'd love to play again. And Super Star Wars is the one I played the most. I remember loving Super Star Wars. It blew my fucking mind. It was like playing the movie in a crazy, really well done game. Awesome soundtrack, great graphics, fun gameplay. It is quirky and goofy in some areas, But it has a really, really great overall feel of the game. There's like mission based, speeder areas, and then there's like the side scrolling areas that are all really well done. When Empire came out, though, Super Star Wars was a hard game. Super Star Wars was a hard game, but Super Empire is nearly impossible. Like Superstar, what you said is like the final boss fight against Vader sucked. Well, I never even got that far. I'm almost honest to God certain that I've never even beaten a single level in Super Empire. Maybe I have. Because the first stage actually was land or the snow on Hoth level, right? And then the side scrolling stuff was next. So I've gotten a couple levels in for sure. But that was the game that honestly, it was the one that questioned whether or not I was any good at video games anymore, because it was so hard. I was like, maybe I just suck now. Maybe I'm just no good at games anymore. There's no reason this game should be so hard. But then after I read reviews on it and I like heard a lot of, banter with friends and stuff like that, everyone said it was super fucking hard. And then when Super Return of the Jedi came out a couple years later, was that 94, 95 or whatever, they toned it down so low. They even put a password feature in too, I believe, where the game was way too easy. And I remember blasting through Super Return of the Jedi on one day of a rental. We rented it whatever evening it was, and then my friend Matt and I and a couple other guys, we like played through the whole game that night. And I was like, okay, what the fuck? Like, where's the balance here, guys? Because Empire was so hard that it was almost impossible to beat 2 or 3 levels, whereas Jedi was easy to go through the whole game. I was like, what the fuck, guys? So like, yeah, Jedi was easy. Super Star Wars was kind of perfect. It was right there. It was a very difficult game, but not impossible, whereas Empire seemed impossible. Impossible. Yes, I miss renting games. Well, I miss renting games. All right, let's get to our next one.
So, if I were legitimately able to play or experience a game all over again from the beginning as if I had never experienced it before, I would have to choose Heavy Rain. That game was just mind-blowingly awesome, being that it was a thriller, it was very noir, really dark. The ambiance of the actual rain, I mean, it was just so dark and foreboding and so just... Did I say dark? I said dark. Okay, yeah. But coming from someone whose favorite film is The Silence of the Lambs and who used to watch Forensic Files to fall asleep at night, I think my choice is pretty appropriate.
Drive safely. Yes, I've heard a lot of, it's strange. But yes, I used to work at Blockbuster Video. I actually spent almost 2 years at Blockbuster Video in Wausau from 99 to 01. But like, Heavy Rain, that was a PS3/360 game, I believe, right? I can't say I've really ever played the game a whole lot. Oh, shut up. We know Blockbuster. Praise be to Blue Pants Man. What the hell's going on? What the hell's going on here, guys? What's going on here, guys? God's Fire. Maybe we could find another game that you'll like better. Yeah, PS3 360 era, Heavy Rain. I remember it was, like you had said, it was a film noir style game. It was very cinematic. It was like playing a video game that is a movie. Oh, dear God. But thanks, Snarf. But I don't butt that torture again. What was the original message? Did I miss one here? Thanks, Snarf, but I don't want that torture again. Oh my gosh. Good, Butt Spot's back. That's great. That's just great. All right, this next one, I'm going to make sure that it's turned up loud enough because sometimes his messages are a little quiet.
Okay, what's a game I wish I could go back and play for the first time? One game that stands out in my mind with regards to being a very unique playthrough and a game that defies expectations and follows the template of games in its genre, yet consistently does the exact opposite of what you would expect it would do, is Dragon Quest V. Dragon Quest V, if you've never played it, and I highly recommend you play it on Nintendo DS or PlayStation 2 rather than the fan-translated Super Nintendo version, is an extremely unique game that basically took all of the conventions of the Japanese RPG that existed in 1992 when it was originally created, said, we're going to set all of these conventions up, and then we're going to do the exact opposite of what you're expecting with them. And they did so in very creative ways, or they gave player choice, where you could do the expected thing or the unexpected thing, potentially with all sorts of interesting consequences. So that's a game that has such a unique spin on the way that they did it, to where decades later, despite the fact that that's still one of the most popular series in all of gaming, let alone in Japanese RPGs, it's still widely considered among the diehard fans to be the best game in the series, and I have to agree. So Dragon Quest V is my choice.
Yeah, that's something Dan's been like championing for years and years and years. He's always like, "Did you play through Dragon Quest V yet? Have you played through Dragon Quest V?" And I still haven't. I remember I actually started the Super Nintendo fan translated one that has a fan translate the ROM for it on like a Super Nintendo emulator, and he was like, "Stop, don't play that version because it's the DS one that's the good one, and the PS2 one." I'm sorry, the PS1 one that's also works really well, but get the DS one is what he would mention to me, and I've yet to play it. So that's one of those things that I got to get to at some point. I've heard the experience is just awesome, and a lot of people when they talk about their favorite Dragon Warrior / Dragon Quest games, the fifth one is like always at the top of most people's lists, other than like 11. Uh, the fuck is happening? Will you please suggest a game that is interesting for a man like me who doesn't know how to use fingernail clippers? I'm sorry to hear that you didn't know how to use fingernail clippers. Maybe we can find another game that you'll like better. I'm so glad this interaction is happening. I'm so glad Buttsbot and Alicia are here. Oh, good. Oh, goody. Yes, but Dragon Quest V, that's one I got to get to. And maybe that's one of those DS games that I'll finally get to play maybe on this stream, because I can always just, play it on the computer or whatnot. So, all right, let's. That was our good friend Dragon Master Dan, who I remember last week when he called in. I had actually mentioned that he was my old co-host on the old Game Hump podcast. It was a lot of fun. All right, here we go.
Yes, the game that I would want to replay the most for the first time. Oh, there's so many. What do you go with? Your first childhood game, or the game that really, really sunk you into the gaming world, or like a masterpiece, like The Last of Us, now on HBO Max.
Nice plug.
I don't know. I would probably have to say Silent Hill 2.
Ooh, good
Silent Hill
choice.
2 really did it for me. I fell in love with that game. I replayed it over and over and over again. It's a great story, great horror game. Yeah, I think I would like to get Amnesia and play that game again.
Funny that you say Vegas Stakes. It's literally right there in the night spot. That's a good one. Last of Us is a good option for sure. That is, and that's it. That's it for the calls this week. So I'll see you guys later. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, Last of Us. I have never played the Last of Us game. I tried it a couple times. I'm not a survival horror super fan, but having watched the TV show, and what's happening now? This guy's name talking right now is Jocko Winterbean. He likes omelets and running naked. Oh God. Buttsbot is calling out AI Alicia. Oh, good. Oh God. Will you sug butt a game that is eye butt-tristing for a man like me who doesn't know how to use fingernail butt purrs? I would recommend the game The Last of Us for a man like you who doesn't know how to use fingernail clippers. Yeah, AI Alicia is now recommending The Last of Us. All right. Butt purrs. Oh my God. What is happening here? So the game that was recommended to play, no. But yes, The Last of Us, the TV show on HBO Max is a blast. It's an absolute wonderful show. It adds a lot to characters and it adds a lot to that first game of The Last of Us. I heard that The Last of Us the game Last of Us 2 is going to be split up into 2 seasons. And it's very possible that it will take 3 years for us to get the 2 seasons out. So, all right. So, Ziz Bebes had requested Little Nemo the Dream Master on the NES for the game to play after our little stream. After our little question thing. So let me stop this little recording.